Najprije da se zahvalim za pokanu da budem deo ove konferencije. Moj srpski je malo loš, ali želio bih da istaknem i moje iskreno zahvalnost što vaš institut... Ne. Vaš institut je prihvatio našu inicijativu da potpišemo memorandum o saradnji i među vašeg instituta i našeg instituta za nacionalnu istoriju i univerziteta u Skopju. Ja ću ipak prezentirati moj trud na engleskom, izvinjavam se o to. The political elites through state institutions utilize the past to mobilize memory, reflecting collective identity as an integral component of the nation. Therefore, when a state is confronted with the imposed revision of its national history, coupled with its adaptation to the narratives of other nations, the function of history becomes a catalyst of the erosion of the nation's identity. This phenomena is noticeable in the case of the Republic of Macedonia concerning the enforced revision of national historiography and history textbooks stemming from the political agreements with Bulgaria from 2017 and Greece 2018. The genesis of the issue of history can be traced back to the second half of the 19th century, when Russia exerted direct influence on the construction of the Bulgarian national narrative, subordinating it to the geostrategic goals for justifying the incorporation of Macedonia into its greater Bulgaria project. This historiographic thesis, focusing on the famous personalities from the Middle Ages, became a constant in Bulgaria's national narrative and were later exploited to historically legitimize their territorial aspiration towards Macedonia, based on the imaginary borders of the San Stefano Treaty. This also fueled the Balkan historiographic clash over the appropriation of the media of figures associated with Macedonia that lasts until the present day. Bulgaria used its position as a member of the European Union, and by the end of 2012 raised the issue of history, opposing setting a date for the start of the EU negotiations until the Republic of Macedonia accepts that it has a Bulgarian history in fact. The political concept of common history was finally politically embedded in the Treaty of Friendship, Good Neighborliness and Cooperation concluded between the prime ministers of the two countries then, Zoran Zaev and Boyko Borisov, in 2017, which allowed Sofia to politically condition the revision of Macedonian national history and historical education. This implies that for the Republic of Macedonia to pursue EU membership, it must meet Bulgaria's conditions, acknowledging a common history, language, tradition, and identity since the Middle Ages. For this to be realized, the fundamental issue for Bulgaria is to legitimize the politically constructed common history through the work of Joint Macedonian-Bulgarian Commission on Historical and Educational Issues established with the treaty. Bulgaria's political agenda involved leveraging the notion of common history aimed at perpetuating the narrative of uninterrupted continuity of over 1,000 years of the ethnic Bulgarians in Macedonia, who since 1945 have undergone violent and ideological conversion into fictional Macedonians. That is the Bulgarian thesis. Clear example that showcases the Bulgarian historiographic linguistic thesis aimed at negation the historical distinctiveness and identity of the Macedonian people is the publication titled The Official Language of the Republic of North Macedonia by the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, released on May 7, 2020, which presents Bulgarian perspective on the linguistic and historical connection with Macedonia since the Middle Ages. The author stands to prove without any solid arguments that the Slavic alphabet was created by the ethnic Bulgarians who inhabited Macedonia ever since the 7th century. By analogy, they labeled the Slavic language as Old Bulgarian, claiming that it was spoken in the Macedonia region around Thessaloniki as the only South Slavic language from then. The attempt to construct a Bulgarian ethnic lineage with Saint Cyril and Methodius and consequently mark the Slavic language as Bulgarian involved their disciples Saint Clement and Saint Naum of Ohrid. As a result, the authors in fact ethnicized Sensilit Methodius and their disciples and nationalized the Slavic legacy in the modern context as Bulgarian. Consequently, they project this narrative construct from the Middle Ages in the modern times, claim that the official language of the Republic of North Macedonia now is the southwestern written regional norm of the Bulgarian language and therefore can be labeled only as North Macedonian Bulgarian. This narrative became the basis for Bulgarian parliament's redefined definition of the national celebration of St. Cyril and Methodius in 2012-21, giving a Bulgarian exclusive context to the Slavic language and the Cyril and Methodius legacy maintained by St. Clement and Nauma Ohrid. This clearly illustrates Sophie's intention to mold history to align with current political goals and nationalist agendas. So the Joint Commission for Historical and Educational Issues accepted the political understanding of history, generating instead scientific, the political methodology. They took on the responsibility of selecting and characterizing the historical personality of some kind of imagined common history. As a result, the Commission so far crafted the definition for St. Cyril Methodius, St. Clement and Nauma Ohrid, as well as Charles Samuel. Although Bulgaria had nothing with St. Cyril Methodius, since its leaders were pagans by 864, the definition adopted by the Commission attributes to Bulgaria the exclusive responsibility for the nurture and revival of the cult of St. Cyril Methodius. The same applies to the definition of Samuel's State and Samuel's Church, Ohrid archdiocese from which Bulgaria wants to extract the Bulgarian political and church tradition in Macedonia from the Middle Ages until the present times. The definition of these personalities by the Commission were embraced by the governments of both countries as the historical truth about our common history, this is the quote, that must be clearly marked as the official celebrations. Furthermore, with the second bilateral protocol with Bulgaria signed in July 2022, that is in fact an annex to the Treaty of Friendship, the Republic of Macedonia has been placed in a position of direct conditionality regarding its EU integration, contingent upon the result of the Commission as regards the complete revision of its national history. According to the protocol, the historical formulations of the historical figures from the common history agreed upon by the Commission will have to be included in the relevant curricula, textbooks, and other relevant teaching materials, and to take them into account and reflect on the contents of descriptions on tables, historical monuments, memorials, and information materials in museums and other objects of educational cultural importance, as well as in publicly owned informational media. Meanwhile, the proof text will determine the truth of public speeches, even the public speeches statements about those common persons and events for which official celebrations are organized by two countries. Viewed from this perspective, and this is, I'm just referring also to my colleague Milosevic, Bulgaria insisted on framing Goce Delchev, the national hero of Macedonia, within the political concept of common history, will historically categorize him as ethnically Bulgarian. Consequently, this would deprive the Macedonians of the very reason to celebrate Goce Delchev as a national hero that will encompass the Ilinden uprising from 1983, which is also considered as a foundation for the modern Macedonian statehood. Furthermore, and this is what I wanted to stress, Macedonian and Bulgarian politicians have begun promoting the idea of removing the labels fascism and fascist occupier as regards Bulgaria from all the monuments and inscriptions reflecting the historical period of the Macedonian Liberation War during the Second World War. This would suggest that the Macedonian people fought against an abstract enemy, obliterating the historical memory of the Macedonian people and the state-building tradition based on anti-fascist struggle. And this is precisely what the Bulgarian political leadership is trying to prove, that there was no occupation, but rather the liberation of Macedonia by the Bulgarian armies and the Anti-Fascist Assembly for the National Liberation of Macedonia is, this is the thesis, a reflection of the Yugoslav ideology with which the Bulgarians were ideologically and forcibly converted into Macedonians. The positioning of the Commission with the political agreement and the protocols is the only one relevant to the state in the context of historical definition of persons and events, indication system in the official public space, essentially implies that the Republic of Macedonia forfeits its sovereignty, shaping its own national narrative and defining its identity and heritage. This practice not only deviates from established practices and democratic norms, but also contradicts scientific standards, European values, and ultimately human rights. To conclude, the Macedonians are currently facing unprecedented challenges regarding the negation of their identity, particularly due to persistent attempts by its neighbors to impose a revision of its national history through political agreements. Greece, for example, has sought to monopolize historical terms such as Macedonian Macedonians, defining them exclusively as part of Hellenic heritage through press agreement, marked as property of Greece. The same policy pursued by Bulgaria, which aims to incorporate important historical figures from national history of Macedonia into a political concept of common history, aimed at demonstrating the continuity of the historical presence of the ethnic Bulgarian since the Middle Ages until the present times. The reinterpretation of history to conform with the neighboring countries' narratives, endorsed as dogmatized historical truths in political sense, with heritage marked as their national property, threatens to reduce the Macedonian nation to a commodified modern construct, a product of political agreements devoid of historical distinctiveness. Consequently, since the revision of the national history emerged as a crucial political condition for the nation's integration into the European Union, it poses a significant challenge to the preservation of Macedonian identity. Thus, the evident political manipulation and abuse of history becomes an issue of being self or becoming other. It is in fact an issue of the European fundamental values, which the Republic of Macedonia is obliged to respect and defend by steadily adhering to the core principle for self-determination, the right for its own national history and heritage. The Republic of Macedonia safeguards the national law and reinforces the fundamental values that are peaceful and collaborative Europe. Thank you very much.